Mississippi River levels are at the forefront again this harvest season, plus an investment that may bring 5G to your neighborhood. All that and more on this episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Hello, howdy, happy Thursday, gents.
Thank you. That means a lot.
It's a short week.
It is a short week. 4 days for us, at least.
Feels like a long week. Yeah, for us, not for farmers. They don't really.
Saw plenty of people farming Monday on my way back into town.
What'd you do?
We drove over to Mississippi and did a little dove hunting.
Oh, any luck?
We've had better.
Yeah.
But it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
Good.
We made some poppers. They were good.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Love a good popper. And it's tailgate season.
It is.
Which seems madly appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So, what?
I just love the commentary.
Yeah, well.
He's just having too much fun back there.
Yeah, well, he sees us gigging each other before we ever hit record.
Exactly. I start every show with laughter because I've already been laughing for 15 minutes before we start.
Because you know the thoughts he's having in his head.
Yeah, there's a lot of giggling that goes on around here, to say the least.
Brian, welcome back.
Thank you.
And happy to have everybody here today, healthy and otherwise.
How was your long weekend?
It was good. We spent some time with some friends from college that we catch up with every once and again, and we weather was pretty good. We got rain on a little bit on Sunday, but overall pretty good.
Yeah.
Temperatures were down like they're about to be again this weekend. So
yeah.
You can tell, knock on wood, but summer is making its way out of here.
Easy, buddy.
We've had that one false fall already.
Pull back a little bit.
It is going to be 90 today.
See?
So we're not too close. But
I'm ready. I'm ready for cooler weather.
I told Heather last night, and I said, I'm ready to make some soup in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of thinking about all those foods that we haven't cooked in.
My wife's been on the sourdough train.
Yeah.
For almost a year now.
Yeah.
So that would be a great pairing with some soup.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah. I've had healthy diet of sourdough lately. They don't make it far outside of the kitchen.
I bet that smell is wonderful.
It is. She made she started out making the regular sourdough. She is now moved up to like chocolate chip sourdough, pizza bread sourdough, sprinkles sourdough, which she referred to as unicorn food, I think. And she made some muffins the other day, and I made some tortillas. But if you
really
had homemade sourdough tortillas, it's a game changer.
So,
yeah.
How long have we been recording this show?
Yeah, I know. Almost 2 years.
You know where I'm going with this.
I know exactly.
See, there's a length of time that you have to get perfection in first before you start, handing your food out. You don't want people to think any less of you.
Well, sir, are you saying it's not good?
No, it's delicious. It's
okay.
amazing.
Then I think we've surpassed
and
that
I haven't
moment.
said anything about it yet until today.
Yeah, well,
so, you've been holding out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking.
Well, we talk about food just about every week.
If you play your cards right, you might have an opportunity one of these days to try some of my wife's amazing sourdough.
Well, it sounds like you've been baking too.
I haven't been baking.
You've made tortillas.
Tortillas isn't baking. You cook those in a pan.
Well,
I want some.
Man, careful.
Yeah, Betty Crocker over here.
Exactly.
Home cooking it up, not sharing.
I'm trying to think. Oh, I made a pork butt a few weeks ago too. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
That homemade tortillas with that pork butt would have been good.
Mm-hmm. Like a little pulled pork taco.
Ooh-wee.
Well, I think we would like to try the sourdough.
Okay, let me take note of that.
It's
all right. I got you in the book.
I see your fake typing.
I do too. I hear though that about the survival rate on sourdough is about 50%, give or take.
I mean, like the actual
once you start your starter is that what it's called?
Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of lingo in the sourdough,
which I'm going to screw up.
Which is why we haven't started any at our house because we almost got into that. But
we've got a friend who's into it, and you go over there and making dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, now watch out for Betty in there and Francis and who she names the star. She's got jars everywhere, and it's like, goodness gracious,
it is a mess, man.
So
it's good. It's a product of love because it takes so long for it to sit up and rise, and man, I've seen what she's kind of gone through of like put all this effort into it, and then she gets ready to put it in the oven, and it's flat as it was when she put it together.
Yeah.
It didn't rise. So, but I think she got her starter from somebody else. Supposedly, making your own starter is pretty difficult.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know that for a fact.
I don't know either.
So, there has been some concerns that we either lost the starter or we needed to get a new one. It's been a roller coaster of a ride.
Sounds
and
like
there's just too much into it. I would never start making sourdough because it would drive me insane.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Too many steps, too much time. Anyways.
There's a lot to it.
But it's a great thing to eat, and I'm glad I'm very thankful for the person in my life that makes it.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yeah. If you toast it, put a little butter on it. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, she made everything bagel loaf.
And
toast that and put some cream cheese on it.
Wow.
Hold up.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's made pancakes and what else? Some granola bars. I mean, there's a whole lot of different things you do.
Sounds like it.
The next thing on the list is pizza dough.
I'd
And
like to get in
hamburger
line for that.
buns.
Very
Hamburger
nice.
bun.
We might do hamburger buns this weekend.
I've never had a sourdough hamburger
neither.
bun. We buy the brioche if we're gonna.
Yeah.
And those are pretty good. Matter of fact, I smoked some bologna over the weekend and took it to this gathering and took brioche buns. And said, you can go white bread, which I also highly recommend, but this brioche bun is tasty.
Yeah. And another point to sourdough, I wouldn't say I'm not gluten or allergic to gluten by any means, I don't think, but I can definitely feel like a difference in me when I eat just regular bread, whether it's my hands swell or something like that.
Well, that's the big thing about
If I eat sourdough, it's nothing. Like
interesting.
I can eat as much of it as I want.
especially if it's the right kind of sourdough. That's the whole point.
Something to do with the fermentation of that flour or whatever.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
There's
know that.
a like we go to this will be a shout out, I guess, because we go to Squisito a lot up in Cabot. They've got all the oils and vinegars and all that kind of stuff. And we buy a lot from them. But they have a sourdough starter kit, and it's got the entire list of all the health reasons and all that kind of stuff. But you can get started with all that, and it can be a little daunting at first, but the health benefits are why you do it.
Yeah,
and then the taste follows. But
I can. There's a huge difference in how I feel eating this bread compared to anything else I can get.
Yeah.
So I like sourdough for some avocado toast, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think she's done that a few times.
Yeah.
Little avocado on sourdough toast with an egg on top.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, if you get into all those flavored vinegars and oils and stuff, and you dip it in some,
Oh
of that,
yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
it's great.
Done
Yeah.
some of
It's
that
really
too.
good.
I've gotten some of those as a gift before, and they're really good.
It'll replace your desserts, believe it or not. So
The next thing I want to
That's
do
good.
is make pastrami.
Oh,
Make a big sandwich with that sourdough. Ooh, that'd be good too.
Yeah, I've threatened to make pastrami. I've got friends in the barbecue world who have done it several times, and I want to do it. I love pastrami, man. Katz's Deli in New York.
I've made it
and that
once or twice with like a venison sirloin,
Uh-huh.
and it turned out amazing. Of course, the second time I don't know what I did wrong, but I haven't done it yet with like a brisket or anything like that.
Right.
That's the next thing I want to do.
Yeah. All right. We need to try that. Now you got me thinking. I mean,
Well,
this weather's
I'm telling
starting to
you,
get
you
right
might
for
get-
That's right.
barbecue.
That's
I
right.
mean, you know.
Yeah, I need
Goodness,
to make some ribs.
I've cooked barbecue the past couple of weekends that we've
Have
been
you?
home, and it's just I haven't cooked really all summer, so I've been enjoying that.
Too hot.
That
Be
it
standing next to a
is,
grill.
man. When you're out there messing with that stuff and it's 110 degrees outside, it's It's tough.
It's tough out there, man.
Well, speaking of time of year, it's September, and September is important for Arkansas rice growers.
How about that?
It is Arkansas Rice Month, which is pretty timely. You know, I got to go up to Harrisburg last Friday, almost a week ago, for the grand opening of the Northeast Rice Research and Extension Center.
Yeah.
That newest extension center up there, and it's pretty cool. It was really cool to see the Arkansas rice industry on full display last week, and heard some great remarks, some good statistics from several different speakers, and learning about what that facility is really made for. Obviously, they talked a lot about your hometown, Stuttgart, where the original Rice Research Extension Center is, and just talked about how that had been such a great resource for farmers, but at the same time having such a different soil profile for than what a lot of farmers in the northeast part of the state work with. So how farmers have had to take a lot of the results that have come out of the research there and kind of adapt that to their own ground, which there's always a reasonable amount of that. But why having this facility up in Poinsett County is so important is because it will reflect the soil types. Where what they said 40% or 50% of the rice in Arkansas is grown within 100 miles of that facility or something like that.
I believe it.
I mean, the Arkansas rice. So that was pretty cool. And then just the public outreach and education component of that. They've got a classroom and labs up there. There's a kitchen for testing recipes.
What about
and preparing food.
the grain bins they've kind of built into the structure of the building?
Yeah, that
looks pretty cool.
Yeah, they call those silos. Each one is sort of branded with a different partner. So what I would say is private, retail, ag organizations, so you can learn about the different partners that they have. And that was one thing that really stood out to me. This thing is not, University of Arkansas specific. It is really co-branded with a number of partners, Greenway Equipment on the shop, and maybe the exhibition hall, Windmill Rice with the kitchen, and Riceland Foods with the classroom and the lab, and Arkansas Farm Bureau, the conference, the boardroom. And so that was pretty cool to see all that come together. But anyway, if you missed that event, it was a packed house, standing room only. If you missed that event, we do have a video shot by Justin Roten, produced by Justin Roten on our team, and it's on YouTube, Facebook, all the channels online. You can go and sort of see a recap of that. But anyway, I didn't mean to talk about that facility. I meant to talk about Rice Month. So I thought I'd bring you a couple of stats that I learned from that event last week.
Learn me something.
So to learn you something here. Arkansas ranks blank nationally in rice production. Do you know the answer to that?
I knew the answer, but I can read it as well if you'd like me to.
Goodness gracious. No magic of TV here. You just, you get
what you see.
Yeah. Well, we know that.
That would be number one.
First, yes. I won't ask you any more questions. We'll just get straight to the point.
Just for the record, I am not editing this section.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you
What would you do without me? I mean, it just wouldn't be a show.
No, it wouldn't. To move away from the quiz aspect, because apparently that's not your bag, we produce nearly half of the U.S. rice production here in Arkansas. For the U.S. So half the rice grown in the U.S. is grown here in Arkansas. We're the fifth largest. The U.S. is the fifth largest exporter of rice.
I think that's crazy. I thought we'd be at the top.
Yeah. I don't know. You think about countries like India and some others.
Yeah, they're not buying a whole lot of our rice.
Yeah. And then rice is grown. This one really blew me away, honestly. Rice is grown at 40 of Arkansas' 75 counties. I would have been closer to 15, 20 if I was guessing.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cool.
You got the River Valley up there, around Atkins? And then you also
Oh,
have the
yeah.
Arkadelphia area.
Yeah.
They grow rice down there, too. But then, there's a bunch of counties all over the eastern part of the state.
It's kind of funny how our minds.
I definitely wouldn't have said 40, though.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool, too. So anyway, Arkansas September is Arkansas Rice Month. Celebrate by buying some Arkansas rice and cooking it up. They had, for takeaway, and I forgot to get one, Dr. Chris Henry's rice, that jasmine rice, the variety that the university put out. I failed to grab one of those, but we've had rice this week in my house. We'll probably have it a couple more times this month.
What's your favorite way to have rice?
I just do it like the Riceland bag tells me. 2 cups of rice, one cup of water.
Just a plain old scoop of white rice.
Cook it down, and then I'll put some butter, salt, and pepper in it. But
put sugar on it?
No,
I've seen people do that. Butter and sugar. Yeah,
that's old school.
Yeah,
That is.
That's the way I eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'll put
butter and
protein
sugar
on top
rice for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes I'll leave mine almost like a risotto consistency too.
Yeah, you kind of overcook it a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the dirty rice, with like the butter, like beef consomme and like a French onion packet seasoning thing.
I've never
I could
had
be not
that.
exactly right with it. There's going to be a bunch of people in Stuttgart, Arkansas County mad at me for not knowing that word for it. But that's probably my favorite way. Or maybe in a jambalaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I'll take it.
You're anticipating hate mail, are you?
Yeah.
That's not dirty rice.
I might get some threats.
Yeah. What do they call those mean tweets? Well, you have to read those next week. But anyway, speaking of rice, well, I guess before we get to crop progress and quality, anything else that you wanted to cover today? I should ask that instead of just barreling through this thing.
Nothing just terribly important. I mean, I've got something down here at the bottom. Do you want to wait on that? Or?
No. Let's go ahead and hit it.
It's the start of the NFL football season tonight.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I better know. How do I not know that?
You should know it because you're in our fantasy football league. So my question to him was going to be, do you have anybody playing tonight? And I'm assuming that answer is I don't know.
I don't
that
know. Who is it?
Baltimore and
Kansas City? I don't think so.
I heard it on the radio this morning. Did Kansas City open up the season last year too?
Maybe so. That seems right.
I don't remember, but
between the great success, in the last few years, plus the Kelsey effect, how could they? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer.
What is it? The second year in a row they're opening the season with getting their Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
That's. I bet that's a lot of fun. I wish I was. No, it's something I'll never be able to experience.
You know what? That's a safe bet.
It's a safe bet.
Do you have anybody playing tonight?
I think I have Kansas City's running back.
Oh, really?
I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I'll butcher it pretty bad.
Okay.
But yeah, so kind of excited. Is there a team in the NFL that either one of you are fans of, or kind of watch the most, or hope that they do well?
I don't. I've never really. My dad has. Pretty routinely rooted for the Cowboys and the Steelers. I don't know how those two kind of came about, but I've got several friends who are big Bears fans, but I've never really latched on to anybody. I just kind of watch it to play fantasy, honestly.
Brian?
Never had a major team or anything. I mean, just for proximity, we always followed Kansas City or the Cowboys.
Saints aren't far.
I liked. I followed the Broncos for a while.
Yeah,
when they were doing well.
Yeah.
We used to go to Denver all the time. So I followed them some.
I grew up watching like Troy Aikman and all them, Emmitt Smith and Mike Irvin win those Super Bowls. Cowboys.
Yeah.
I guess it just kind of stuck with me.
Well, when I was a kid, I mean, we went down there and saw a few games. And of course, you could always see them on TV. That's how sports fandom really came about. In America, for the most part, in generations previous, is like, hey, what can I get on my radio?
Yeah, what region are you in?
Who can I see or hear?
Yeah,
and whoever that is who I'm going to root for. That's how we have so many Cardinals fans here.
Yeah,
Mine's always been more of a for love of the game kind of thing. It's whatever. It's always good to watch good sports. Watch them be at the height of their game, and I generally just enjoy seeing good football. So
I'm kind of like you. That's where I land.
I will say I'm a much bigger college football fan than I am NFL.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did not sit down and watch football last Saturday. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that.
Kind of close for those
Saturday.
Red Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now that being
we've already
said,
talked
with
about
college football, I draw the line at Alabama. I want anyone that plays Alabama, I want them to beat them.
It's as a University of Arkansas being in the SEC, you're supposed to root for SEC teams when they're not playing each other.
Yeah.
I don't care. I want every one of them to lose. I do
Is there
not care.
anyone that's an exception, like a little non-threatening, like a Vanderbilt? Like, okay,
Actually,
well,
yeah,
you know what?
I agree.
wouldn't
Like,
mind
I was
seeing
really
Vanderbilt.
excited seeing Vanderbilt win last week.
Yeah,
there you
I was super happy for him.
But
So,
Ole Miss,
other than Vanderbilt, the rest of them, see ya. I hope you lose every game.
especially now that Texas is in the league.
If you play each other, I hope both of you find a way to lose that game. Yeah. But it's not like saying that's not good for the conference, right? But,
Right.
True.
But
True.
yeah,
But it makes you
whatever.
feel warm.
I get the reason why it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
I feel
than-
the same. Granted, I'm not. My conference is different, but I find myself the same way. Those, App State or whoever, Old Dominion, whoever. Like, oh God, I hope they get their
Even if
tails
we
whooped.
beat that team, and it looks better on us if they continue to win their games, I don't care. I just hope they live in misery. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad all the football's back.
Yeah,
Me too.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. All right. Well, let's look at crop progress and quality before we get on with the news here. Some fun news. I really enjoy pulling this up because you'd be surprised at the number of conversations you can come up with in the week or be involved in the week where people say, "Yeah, I don't know, are we cutting soybeans or what?" And you can kind of say, "Well, I can tell you where we are on that." So. And so let's get into that real quick. And I think there may be a couple of surprises in here. Corn quality is at 77% good to excellent, still holding steady there. Good to see that crop doing well. Harvest progress. Corn is 58% done.
Yeah.
Nearly a 30% jump over last week.
Yeah.
I think we debated whether or not people were racing the rain when we were recording last week. To give you an idea, so like I said, we're at 58% done. The 5-year average for corn as of this week is 25%.
Oh,
This
so
week,
we're ahead of time.
This week last year, we were at 38%.
I think
so
we're ahead on everything almost.
So we're 20% even ahead of where we were last year this time. Rice quality is at 65%, good to excellent. A bit of a drop since last week. 39% of the state's rice crop has been harvested.
Yeah.
That's about 15% over last week. To give you an idea, again, we're 39% harvested right now. The 5-year average is 11%.
Okay.
This week last year, we had harvested 20%. So we're almost double over last week or last year.
Yeah.
Soybean quality, 73% good to excellent. Harvest 65% of the crop is coloring with 49% dropping leaves. 14% of the soybean crop is harvested.
So we moved up 4% from last
I believe
week?
so, yeah. That 5-year average on soybeans is 1% harvested.
Yeah.
Last year, we were at 3%
you
harvested. So you are correct. We are ahead in every aspect there. Cotton quality, 73% good to excellent. A bit of a drop since last week. 68% of the bolls are opening. We have not started cotton harvest yet, of course. Peanut quality, 89% good to excellent. There's a bit of a slip there in quality. Peanut harvest is on the board with 2% harvested. So now we have a fourth
wondering or looking forward to that.
A fourth commodity that has began harvest in the state, with another 11% of the crop dug. So as we learned last year, that means that crop is laid out to dry for a few days before it's harvested. Vegetable quality reporting is at 48% good to excellent, holding steady. I thought this was interesting. You may have some insight on this. This week, a sweet potato line item was added to the report. So I thought we'd report on that. I don't recall ever seeing sweet potato harvest progress reported, but
that means it's growing
or quality product.
Yeah, the production of it's growing because, like, if anything specialty crop wise, which sweet potatoes are kind of on a weird line there because the production size is row crop kind of, but it's such a small amount of it compared to everything else. It's technically a specialty crop, but in these reports, whether it's a harvest or quality or NASDAQ or whatever, a lot of specialty crop stuff has been pulled out of there.
Yeah,
because the production just isn't high enough for them to gauge it anymore.
Milo, for instance, probably.
Yeah, would be one.
Well, anyway, 86% of the state's sweet potato crop is good to excellent. So I'm going to step on your toes slightly, and this is because I'm sorry I didn't know. So I'll just say, actually, I won't do that. I will say the Mississippi River level is something we're starting to pay attention to, as we talked about at the top of the show. I think you've got more on that later.
A little bit, yeah.
So I won't say anything there.
I appreciate that.
But harvest is on and rolling. We'll say it again here at our break, but y'all be on the lookout on the roads. There's a lot of farm equipment moving around. Please be aware of that. Please understand they need to make wide turns. I drove over to Poinsett on Thursday, and you take a little back section of highway there. Grain trucks, which are driving 55 miles an hour, they'll put their blinker on. You may be tempted to go around them, but if you'll sit there behind them with that blinker on, you'll notice they come all the way into the oncoming lane before they can turn.
Yeah.
So please don't get in a hurry. Give those folks time.
And more often than not, they'll pull over for you too.
Yeah, they
let you
will.
pass.
They will.
One thing I was going to say about rice on our way back Sunday, I saw a lot of down rice after that storm that came through.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if that was just kind of that from Little Rock direct east, kind of that path I was driving, if that was impacted area or if it was a wider spread. So if it is,
interesting.
I'm curious if that's going to slow down the harvest.
We did take a bit of a drop.
Yeah.
In quality, so I wonder if that impacts harvest too. Yeah.
Well, let's get into some news.
All right.
I will start off with what Jason was trying to take from me earlier. I was really hoping we could get through 2024 without needing to talk about river levels, but history continues to repeat itself. However, it's not all bad news.
Okay. Good.
So, Jason, do you want the good news, not so good news, or the not so better news first?
Wait a second. Not so good or not so better? How about not so better? Just simply because I've never heard that term before.
Well, we're going to go with the not so good first.
Okay.
So, if you were listening back in July, you would have heard me say that the Mississippi River was higher then than it was at the same time last year. As soon as I said that, I fully regretted it. I'm a bit superstitious, to say the least, and over the last 2 months, those worries have come back to haunt me. According to the U.S. Coast Guard, several barges have recently run aground along the lower Mississippi River, specifically, the Greensville-Vicksburg section of the river. This has forced the American Commercial Barge Line to warn customers to expect 1 to 2 day delays for river shipments. Currently, the water level at Memphis is lower than what it was at this time last year, which is not good. The water level is expected to drop to negative 7.5 feet by September 18th. So that's right around the corner. With a little rain in the forecast, I expect that to come true. So that was the bad news.
Yeah. Okay.
And given that I'm superstitious, by saying that, I think that's going to happen and get worse. It's supposed to get better, right? Yeah, I think that's how that sounds.
Okay.
So the somewhat better news is that the Panama Canal.
Oh, okay.
You remember last year had a bunch of issues.
I do remember that.
Well, they've also been feeling the effects of drought all throughout last year. However, recent rains that lifted water levels in an artificial lake connected to the system have allowed the Panama Canal Authority to increase the draft in the waterway to a maximum of 50 feet and will begin allowing up to 36 vessels a day to transit the canal.
Okay.
That's up from 24 vessels at the height of the drought.
Oh, that's
so
pretty good.
They're moving in the right direction. The agency also expects rains to continue through November. With these rains, the lake is expected to rise from 85.8 feet to 88 feet by November. Administrator Ricardi Vasquez was quoted saying that it'll take 5 to 6 months for shipping or shippers to fully get back into regular business on that canal. So yeah, not all bad. It's good to hear the Panama Canal is getting back to capacity. I also read that there are some plans to expand the canal to help combat drought in the future. So I'm sure that's going to be a massive project, to say the least. As far as the Mississippi River goes, not expecting a whole lot of good news to come out of there anytime soon. But as any updates come out, we'll be happy to update you here.
I'm sure you saw the same thing I think it was Friday that we officially dipped below the low mark, which is 5 feet, right? And it's a steady decline between here and the 18th, as you said.
And when we were crossing it over the weekend, you could see it. Man, if you wanted some sand or needed some sand, it was a good place to be.
You could get out there and
you get all the sand you want.
Well, hopefully we get some much needed rain, whether that be up north or here, and get us back on track.
Absolutely.
There. All right, my first story of the week is grocery related and covers a topic we've talked about a lot here on the show. First off, shout out to Bernt Nelson, who at American Farm Bureau for the analysis. We're going to talk about beef prices here, and he's got some great analysis. USDA's Economic Research Service reported record retail beef prices for the month of July, with the all-fresh value of beef estimated at $8.15 per pound. This marks the first time in history the national average price for all fresh beef moved above $8. Now, let's put on our consumer hats here for a minute and ask, why in the world are beef prices so high? Turns out the answer is years in the making. So let's hop in the DeLorean, as we often do, and travel back to 2020 to talk about...
A minimum of 88 miles per hour.
Yeah, not COVID, but drought conditions that impacted pastures in 2020. So, which has continued since then, sending feed prices to record levels. At the same time, inflation began to rise for everybody, including farmers and ranchers. And when you put these two factors together, the result was farmers placing a higher than normal amount of female cattle on feed for slaughter. This meant fewer cattle for breeding, resulting in an increased short-term beef inventory. You can reference a number of past episodes for more on that issue. Look for any deep dive with Jake Cartwright on here, and you can hear us really diving deep into the cattle inventory element of this. So this led to the smallest cattle inventory in nearly 75 years, and we know what happens when supply is tight, don't we?
Yes.
Well, cattle inventory takes more time to build back than other livestock because it takes 18 to 24 months from a calf's birth until it's fed to slaughter weight and ready for market. The USDA cold storage report backs this up, showing supply of beef is down year over year, something else we've talked about with Jake. Now, for some of you listening, this is not all bad news, right? One of the positive results of lower cattle supplies is higher prices for ranchers. While prices have come up, so have expenses, though.
Yes.
According to ERS, their February 2024 farm sector income forecast, production expenses in all of agriculture are forecast to increase 4% or over $16.5 billion in 2024 to reach a record-setting $455 billion price tag. The other issue, an aging farmer population. And this is something that was really interesting to me. With an average farmer age of nearly 60 years old and high market prices, it's tough to be forward-looking and thinking about herd rebuilding and inventory recovery, especially with input prices where they are.
Yeah.
So you're getting a high price for that product going out the door, but high input costs, and you're near 60 years of age. How much do I want to put back into building this herd back?
Yeah.
So as Nelson puts it, the crux of the story is the U.S. cattle inventory has decreased to a seriously low level, but the market isn't providing incentives for farmers to grow the herd again. That has caused beef prices to rise to record levels, okay? From a business standpoint, it may not make a lot of sense to enter the cattle business or expand because while the cash price for cattle is elevated, like we just talked about, increased costs for supplies along with market uncertainty have become obstacles to profitability. And it is uncertain whether the cattle prices 2 or even 3 years out will reward making that investment.
Yeah, we've talked about it here before, but that cattle inventory is a roller coaster if you look at it on a graph. Mm-hmm. It's got its peaks and its lows, and right now we're in the low, and that goes into supply and demand for just looking at a sector of the economy, and that's why prices are high. But as a farmer, you have an incentive to sell your cattle today.
Yeah,
because the price is so good. But also, what does that national or statewide herd look like if that continues to happen? Mm-hmm. And like you said, that's the first time I've really looked at it that way, as being that older farmer and thinking, all right, well, how much longer am I going to be doing this? And then how expensive it is to hold this cattle. Mm-hmm. And if I want to increase the amount of cattle, how much more expensive is it going to be? So that's interesting. Like I just hadn't really put that together. I don't know why.
And like you said, that ebbs and flows, but how long, is the run up? Does that take a lot longer, or does it take longer in general to build the inventory back up because of that?
It's kind of like trying to buy anything right now, of like whatever it may be, a larger item. Let's call it a car today. It's like you're saving money for that car, and maybe you have enough to put down on it today, but you want to put more down on it in the future. But if inflation continues to move up and the prices for that car continues to move up, that's just almost to a point where it become a wash if you wait too long.
Where's the trigger point?
Like you're losing value in the money that you're holding to do that, and that's a similar situation here. Mm-hmm. If you try to hold cattle, are you losing the value of that cattle because you're putting more money into it, or if you sell it today, is that all going to be a wash? Mm-hmm. Or are you going to lose money because you sold today and didn't build the herd back up, or your own herd back up? Those are just all questions that takes a little bit more than just looking at that high price.
It's an interesting way to think about it, and certainly a new perspective at least for me, for what I've heard or read. So.
Well, I'm sure y'all are tired of listening to my economic analysis.
I'm not.
A sector of agriculture I'm not proficient at. But so anyways, let's take a short break and hear about how you can keep rural roads safe across Arkansas.
Arkansas farmers and ranchers work 7 days a week. That means when you hit the road, you may be sharing it with farm equipment, especially if you're traveling along rural roads and county highways. Farm equipment moves slower than our pickup trucks and minivans. They may not have the safety lights and turn signals of our family vehicles either. The trucks and tractors moving down the road need extra room to make turns, cross bridges, and move through intersections too. We all get in a hurry sometimes, but it's important that we all stay safe, no matter if we're headed to buy groceries or grow them. So next time you're cruising past a pasture or field, keep an eye out for farmers. They'll be sure to keep an eye out for you too. If we all work together, we can make sure Arkansas is cultivating safe roads.
All right. My last story of the day or the week is about internets.
Oh,
do you use the internets?
Once in a while.
Yeah, the HTTP/whatever.
I do the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
You're going to hurt yourself.
It's an interesting place. Well, access to that interesting place, or broadband, or internet as they call it these days.
Oh, look at you.
In general, in rural areas specifically, has been a big topic here at Farm Bureau, and there has been some progress to fix that issue over the last year. Well, last week, the Federal Communications Commission FCC made an effort to further move the needle forward. The FCC voted to roll out the first phase of the 5G Fund for Rural America that will fund deployment of the voice and 5G mobile broadband service infrastructure in unserved areas. According to AgriPulse, although the project has been in existence for several years, efforts to spend the money have been stalled to a lack of accurate data on 5G availability. Utilizing the latest nationwide broadband map, the FCC has determined that more than 14 million homes and businesses lack access to 5G. The FCC also estimated that at the end of 2022, 64.3% of people living in rural areas had access to broadband, compared to 97.8% of urban residents, with download speeds of 35 megabits per second and upload speeds of 3 megabits per second. It will be interesting to see what comes from the money and like what they building that infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the same situation. They're awarding money to entities, then they put up the infrastructure, right?
Right,
Co-ops,
yeah.
electric companies, etc.
Yep.
But there's some critics of the updated 5G availability map saying it still isn't as accurate as it should be, and a more accurate map should be created before the money rolls out. I know that has also been a complaint here in Arkansas, but nonetheless, the project has begun, or the implementation of administering that money.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about it last year in D.C. at Internet or Issue Advisory Committee that they were complaining about if you got on the internet and saw their map, that none of that was accurate, or most of it wasn't accurate because like that individual said, "Well, I live right there," and they say I have internet, and I don't, I can't even pick up 5G. So it looks like that's kind of we're making progress.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll see the impact of that money for not anytime soon.
Arkansas just underwent a very in-depth mapping process and is right now hosting the Office of Broadband. I'll get the name right, but Glenn Howey, who's been on this show before, he and his office are out hosting meetings around the state last week and this week. So they've taken public comment periods on the map, and then they're doing in-person town hall meetings to take additional feedback and input on the mapping process. And now that has to do with a regular broadband build out. I don't, in addition to, or maybe alongside 5G, which is what you're talking about. But it all comes down to those maps and knowing where to allocate the funds based on where the need exists.
Yeah, and just be clear, this article or this news piece here is about 5G internet
and federal.
Yeah,
funds.
They've already been pushing out hardwired fiber and stuff for broadband across the state. So, and then Philip Powell, one of our past coworkers, he's director of the federal side of it.
I think so.
Helping dispense that money to states.
Yep.
So he'd be another good one to talk to about it.
I'll tell you, we've had friends in rural communities in Arkansas with faster internet than we have here in Little Rock because of some of these programs and services. Yeah. So it's happening. All right. From time to time, we report on farmer sentiment here on the show. And as for my last story, I kind of wanted to bring this to the show today, even though you've done the last few. The sentiment measure always comes from surveys completed by Purdue University. And today we want to take a quick look at the August results. According to Purdue, Farmers' Outlook took a sharp turn south in August amid commodity price drops with the prospect of bumper crops across the U.S. and abroad. The overall measure referred to by Purdue as the Ag Economy Barometer fell 13 points in August from July's reporting. The survey summary goes on to report this, and I quote, could indicate that farmers expect this year's farm income downturn to last for an extended period. The August survey was conducted the week of August 12th. That's around the same time that futures prices fell following record corn and soybean yield productions from USDA. Yeah. That's that WASD that we always bring to you. Around 30% of survey respondents said lower commodity prices were their top concern, which is a 10% increase over the same time last year, from last August. Now, get this. Surprisingly, however, commodity prices were not the top concern. That crown goes to high input costs.
Imagine that.
With 33% of farmers noting that as the number one thing keeping them awake at night.
Absolutely.
Pretty interesting data here. We've talked a lot about the ag economy, farm income numbers on this show. But one thing that we've not covered is, sort of forecasting or looking at how long that downturn is going to last. Purdue says they believe that this barometer could indicate that farmers expect it to be an extended period of downturn.
I mean, a little bit of good news I saw in this past week was that soybean prices dipped down below $10. I think specifically November soybeans. And then either Friday or over the weekend, they came back above 10. I think the last thing I saw was like 10.70.
Oh, nice.
Now, but is that going to continue? Is that trend continue to go up? I don't know.
As this, and of course we're just talking about Arkansas, but as this harvest tracker continues to move along.
Yeah. And I think
know.
we said it last week, and I was reading another article today. There's more grain, and we have bigger stocks now than we did this time last year, which means people are holding on to last year's crop, hoping for a better price. Well, you're just going to get more supply on that in that area. So
especially if that river.
If the river stays low, we're going to start
do.
putting more grain on the ground, cover it with tarps.
Yeah.
So,
not a place we want to be.
nope, you may see some more grain bins if you can afford to put them up.
Yeah, exactly. That's the truth. All right. Well, that's the news.
That's the show.
It's all wrapped up then.
Yep.
We don't have anything else, right?
Nothing else
Nice
to
and
do.
tidy.
No, I can go back to doing whatever I was doing before I came down here.
Yeah. No.
All right, then. I guess we won't play.
Oh, yeah, we still got that to do.
Got to do that.
What's your options today?
I have a pretty balanced board today.
Oh, yeah?
There's one of just about everything. There's arts, science, entertainment, history, general, geography. And they're pretty easy. I'm going to take it easy on you.
Yeah, I believe that. Let's go with history.
History it is. Which U.S. president was nicknamed the Little Magician?
I have no idea.
I'm not making this stuff up. I'm just reading, guys. So
Yeah, you just select these at random as if that's totally normal thing to
Little
say.
magician. I've never. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
just for the record, you asked for history.
I did.
You
That's
asked
true.
for it. So
Can you give me a time?
I'm just
range
gonna
of,
guess Grover Cleveland.
I guess that's a good guess. No.
He guesses it's a good
Yeah, I guess that's a good guess.
I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. He has three names, like three.
William Henry Taft.
No.
I was gonna say Taft.
Where are you? I just jumped out there.
So yeah, I was gonna.
There's
be wrong.
a town. There's a city in Arkansas.
Well, there's Clinton.
Little-
It's just north of here.
Little magician.
Does Clinton have three names?
I'm sure he does. Nobody. Well, I don't know, man. I don't
I'll
know.
put you out of your misery.
Yeah, please do.
Martin Van Buren.
Martin Van Buren.
That's so close.
There you go.
Very Van Buren there.
Yeah, you were very close.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Oh, give me a rundown of categories one more time. I got very distracted by that.
Little magician. Why was he called the little magician?
That you'll have to look up.
Did he do little magic, or was he the little person that did magic?
Maybe he was a small man, but he did great things.
Yeah, there's that.
So
There's a lot of potential answers.
exactly.
And my face hurts.
Yeah, he did such a good job. It was like it was magic.
And I was so glad that you picked that as the first one because it was a great way to kick it off.
Yeah, it is a great way to
I was
kick
like,
it off.
yes.
We needed that.
You didn't see me back here.
Magician.
All right, so there's still arts,
Arts.
science, entertainment, general, and geography.
Okay. I don't feel like arts comes up much. I don't.
That's for good reason.
Yeah.
Good.
See,
Yeah. This is gonna hurt.
How many paintings did Vincent van Gogh sell during his lifetime?
0.
No.
3.
No. He created more than 900 paintings, yet sold only one
1.
during his lifetime.
We were close.
Does it say?
It's the Red Vineyard at Arles.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
But
Which
anyway.
one's that? Is that with all of the people up in that? No, that wouldn't be it. No. That's how much I know about art. Anyways.
Okay. Well, there you go.
We got time for one more?
We do. So science, entertainment, general, geography.
General.
General.
Oddly enough. it
Which
looks like-
common
There are
houseplant?
people in that picture. Auto.
Sorry.
Which common houseplant is said to make burns heal faster?
Oh, I know that.
Aloe vera.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
So
That
good
was
job.
science?
No, general.
Oh.
That was general. Science.
I was going to say science is never answerable.
No, science was. You can get this one.
Okay. Science.
Bacteriophobia, I have to pronounce it right, is the fear of what?
Bacteria.
Yes. I told you it was easy.
He was like, wow, yes, you got that right.
You made that up. It's not even.
What was the first animated TV series to win an Emmy?
TV
The Simpsons.
series?
No.
South Park?
No. Huckleberry Hound Show.
Oh, boy, I watched a lot of Huckleberry Hound back
I
in
bet
the
you
day.
did.
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that
I would
young
not.
gun. I bet you did. You wouldn't know that, little magician.
I didn't have my magic powers back then.
All right, well, oh gosh, that wraps up the news for this week and everything else. Goodness gracious! Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Yes, remember you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version wherever you listen to podcasts.
And make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown,
And I'm John McMinn.
and we'll see you next week.